That's what I'm talking about.
It's just like the turd emoji. That's all it is.
All right.
Here we go.
Game one. We have Ruben with the trendy deck. We got the Gobstein, Goblin Hut, Drill, Evo Snowball, Tourist with a Drill Evo Snowball deck as well. We'll see if it's the same one. Yeah, wow. So we have a mirror matchup.
Yeah, and we see that Berserker actually get on through and get to tower, and we had this happen. Yes, and then we're right back in. Great job there to our production team. Thank you guys so much. And honestly, no action missed. You guys can see right there, 2870 on the top tower there from Tourist, bottom 2972. Looking like a mirror matchup of these trendy decks. There's the hut being played right on top of the tower to make sure those spear goblins spawn.
Good arrow coming in from Tourist, getting some nice damage through. Nice snowball from Ruben, though, on defense. And the big thing to really think about, once again, is just always that Evo cycle. If you can ever use your Evo snowball in a situation like that, it's just really good to always get that Evo ready for offense as quick as possible. Tourist is going to keep applying pressure with his elixir advantage.
And I like this here. I really like this push. I mean, I don't like that it didn't pull, and I don't like that now we're getting tower damage there, but I initially liked defending so cheaply that it would make Tourist think twice about pulling the trigger on that ability. Although Ruben there just makes a small mistake, small misplay, 25-24 to 25-46, basically all evened up technically. More damage done on the board by Tourist since Ruben's other tower is down at 27-33, the same lane that he cycles this Goblinstein in the back.
Drill coming in with the berry on the offense as well. Bomber drop from Ruben to help defend. Berserker on the bomber, and then big counters from Ruben on both lanes, actually. Gobstein forced left side, but the Drill's going to come out onto the right. And I'm not sure if he has bomber back in cycle to help him defend.
Big shout out there to Christian Smith in the chat saying first best of 5 duel format in CRL history. That's right, baby. You're here for it. We're here making history. Juicy and I are very excited to see how this all shakes down.
Evo Snowball getting some nice damage. Goblin Drill really putting in the work. Evo Bomber going to turn around and help out a little bit, but that might end up backfiring to King Tower activation. And there it is. King Tower activation through, and the pressure continues, but I think Tourist in a really good situation here, Andrew.
Yeah, he's going to take just a little bit of damage. You know Ruben's not going to use that ability on the left-hand side, especially getting that extra little bit on the right-hand side. 2080 now to 1698. Tourist going to try to take that advantage that we're talking about and see if he can go anywhere with it. Snowballs out in both directions. Then an arrows comes down from Tourist just to get a little bit more tower damage. I do like how Tourist is always smiling. He seems to always be having a good time.
He's happy. He's winning. I like it.
Although I don't think he's done much losing, so maybe that's why he's always smiling.
Here comes another Drill. 3-card cycle on the board for both of these players. Bomber down, going to help clean up. And the arrows miss the Bomber on offense. That's going to make this defense fairly successful. One Goblin does get a hit, but I don't know. I think that Ruben is making some good plays, but Tourist got a big counter push here with this Goblin and everything.
Free-cycled Berserker in the left-hand lane. Berserker goes past the Drill, though, then gets pushed with a Snowball, and now Tourist out to a huge lead again over a world champion.
Drill comes down once again, just continuing to apply pressure. Arrows on the guards, as always, and then the Evo Snowball. Just going to pull everything back, including that last-second Berserker, allowing the Goblins to get so much damage. How do you even defend that?
Juicy, who is this person? It's just crazy, because the other thing that's insane about this is that this is a new deck, right? This is a new deck that we didn't see at all. It is now a mirror matchup, you know, fluffy or whatever, but like that's really what matters in all sports at the highest level is mental, and Tourist just really, really strong right now.
Taking a sip of the energy drink, locking in before the match. Both players leaking some elixir, and Tourist with the Cannoneer. Kind of a dead giveaway on the deck he's playing here. Gonna be the Mortar Miner deck that we've seen so much yesterday.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the exact same thing to you. Is there some like lava deck out there that's randomly running Cannoneer, or is this just a dead giveaway like you said? The part of it that's kind of the question mark for me, Juicy, and I said this yesterday when someone held with Mortar, if that's the case, isn't that a deck where you really want to try to get something done in single, or is that not always the case?
You know, good question. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. You're right. I don't think it is a deck you really want to wait, and because of that, it makes me think he might be playing something else. And I think what we're gonna see here actually is Splash Yard. I have seen Splash Yard paired with the Cannoneer before as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is there a reason that there's good synergy between Splash Yard and Cannoneer?
Mainly just because there's so many splash units with the Ice Wiz, with the Witch, and then perhaps even a baby dragon. It just does a great job of kind of allowing the Cannoneer to take out the high HP units and allowing the splash cards to kind of cover for what the Cannoneer is bad at.
Do you think that this is also a version of Splash Yard down at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, I guess so. It looks like it. I think, there we go. Graveyard down. And that actually is interesting. That's a good call out there because Cannoneer is very bad versus Graveyard. So that might make things a little bit difficult for Tourist. And it kind of already is. You see how the Evil Witch is just distracted. It's forced to kind of defend all the Graveyard Skellies. And the opposing Witch does a great job of defending. And the other thing here in this matchup is Ruben being the second one to get the Evil Witch in cycle is actually better because he's able to use the Evil Witch on defense, allow Tourist Evil Witch to cross the river, and this is a difficult defense now.
Yeah, I was just going to say Juicy. I mean, you look at Ruben's tower completely untouched, and now you look at Tourist, and he's having to spend a lot to stay alive here, and the breakthrough still coming. Evil Witch does come down, but Evil Witch still alive, and this just might be the end of game number 1. You can see Tourist kind of laughing and looking like a little bit more. Yeah, I think he resigned. Exactly. That's exactly the word to use. There it goes in. Great call outs from you.
Instead of, kind of the middle ground that we talked about earlier, we saw the best, most trendiest deck played from both players in game 1. And then Splash Yard's pretty solid too. There's going to be a lot of spells out, and people are going to have to get, or both of these players are going to have to get pretty creative here in games number 3 and 4 and maybe even 5.
Inferno out high here for Tourist, along with an MK and Miner. So this is almost looking like that MK Skelly Barrel spam deck, but I'd be surprised just because we haven't seen Skeleton Barrel at all, but does have all the pieces so far.
This has got to be coordinated from the players. We have a direct, 100% mirror matchup game 1. We have a near mirror matchup game 2, and now we have a near mirror match game 3 with a Mega Knight Miner cycle decks. This is wild.
It's just the same analyst for both players. It doesn't tell either of them. Getting down at the bridge, and really starting to look like more and more pieces of that. Goes right in with the Miner on top of the Ram Rider, though, not expecting the Ram Rider maybe defensively, and then a high Mother Witch to catch the rest of the Goblins. Really nice play there from Ruben on maybe a little bit of a more offensive than necessary send by Tourist.
And the E-Spirit for the Bats, though, make this really difficult to defend, and Tourist has kind of a bad Bandit. It's not going to get dash value, forcing a Evo Zap on defense, I believe. I actually don't really know who's Evo. No, it must have been Tourist. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would think so, because the Bandit, I think, would have just gone off the board from the Inferno.
Yeah. Too much Clash Royale for this weekend for me. I'm starting to see things.
I know. I'm sure. Even after our match or our calling yesterday, and then I'm sure you went streaming. So a lot of CR in Juicy's life every week, of every month, of every year these days. 1905 to 2717 are the two weakest towers, both on the left-hand side. Tourist now at a pretty heavy disadvantage here in game number 3. Starting to look a little bit more like these matchups would have on paper initially, just in the sense of, okay, it looks like Ruben is starting to take a little bit of control of this set. Tourist has been a big surprise all weekend long. There's the E-Spirit to reset. Nice E-Spirit there from Ruben. Going to get another Piggy out of that Inferno Dragon, and then gets the Miner to come out from Tourist. And there's the Zap from both of them.
Yeah, I will say, even though it is a mirror matchup, I do like Ruben's deck a little bit more in the mirror, just because he has the E-Spirit and Zap rather than just the Zap, and the Mother Witch is really just a big threat to most of Tourist cards here.
Ooh,
Wow.
and that's it right there.
Wow.
Big overwhelm. Boss Bandit on top of the
Yep.
tower. Not technically game yet. And just like you were talking about, doesn't have a lot of big spell power, is Ruben with just that zap. But 458 remaining.
Wow.
Difference of, it doesn't even matter. Just completely overrun.
And Ruben with the Evo Mega Knife is an interesting deck pool for sure. And I think that, once again, when you look at the spell power, you see that Lightning and Fireball is what's available for both players. So we do see Tourist out with the RG, but Ruben with a successful kind of deck prediction probably here with the Mortar. I think that Mortar will succeed and provide some great value versus the RG here.
Yeah, and this is definitely that Mortar version that you really, really like to see, because if Tourist is running the double small spell version, you know, he might be able to get some good value with the Log and the Rage. But for the most part, with the Mortar and all the other 4 cards that you see right there, there's usually always a great, cheap, or even way to defend. And then the ability to not have to overspend regularly on defense. You know, you see that sequencing that happens a lot with Royal Giant players, where it's like, okay, Royal Giant at the bridge with a Log right behind and a Fisherman down low, and all of a sudden you can't defend at all. It looks like Ruben, because it's so cheap and so spammy, should be able to have some good responses.
Mortar on the board. I like this choice just to set up defense, but also to get the Evo in cycle. And Monk Ability a little bit late. Not going to deflect the first, maybe the second. Wait! But the Mortar... Oh my gosh, not again. The Royal Giant just gets pushed aside from the Monk, and it bypasses the Mortar. Even the Log isn't enough, and Tourist with a massive damage advantage right away here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a life raft sent from those Clash Royale gods. Ruben, you and I both just talking about having a good matchup, already getting good damage on that right-hand side. He had all the responses that he needed to defend. And then, again, that Monk plus the RG, that body block is just so frustrating. The density. We always talk about density at, the highest level of Clash Royale. And that Monk is just dense enough to make sure that that RG gets pushed just a hair.
Gosh, and I just hate these Evo Bats. You never want to play Evo Bats like that. You always want to play them right on top so they can immediately get value. But now we just see a situation where we're just giving Fireball value from Ruben's side as well. So, I mean, Ruben's down a ridiculous amount of damage. He has a crazy comeback to make. He's immediately going opposite lane. It's not impossible. I've seen Ruben come back from worse.
Yeah, and you know what? I have... I've never come back against Ruben in anything, but I have been able to come back from down pretty deep against an RG deck. This one is really tough, though, because it does have that Monk that can get a little bit of chip if and when he needs it, and obviously it does have the big spell there if it does get to a spell cycle situation. But I agree, Ruben's not out of this yet, but man, is it going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, it's really going to be tough to defend the RG here, too. Never mind, he does cycle back to Mortar. Fireball going to drop down, not on the tower, but directly onto the Mortar. Log is in cycle to barely stop, but once again, really good plays from Tourist, forcing Ruben to overspend on defense, and Tourist continues to be up Elixir.
Yep, exactly everything you just said. I was just looking at the Elixir right after that exchange. You know, barely survives without taking any damage is Ruben. Gets basically useless 3 half-health Spear Goblin counter push, and is down 2 Elixir. So really, really tough stuff here for Ruben. And Juicy, we look like we're going to game number 5 in our very first best of 5. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting to see what kind of decks we see and what kind of, I don't know, just really interesting concoctions of maybe multiple different small spells. And actually, neither player have used Lightning yet either. So looks like both players, maybe, I mean, arguably saving the best big spell in the game for the last game of this best of 5.
There we go. Ruben goes full send, opposite lane. Fishboy up high. Monk ability to cross. That's going to do enough to bring it down to Fireball range. There's the Fireball. Doesn't even need it. Tourist all even here. I like it. Tourist's hair, it looks like he went through the ringer over those last 20 seconds. Rage comes
immediately
down
wrong
in both directions.
Wrong.
We've cracked the code, Juicy. It's the same dang analyst, and he hasn't told his 2 players.
This is wild. We're seeing 4 out of 5 games, all mirror matchups, and if you guys are just tuning in, this is a best of 5. It is currently 2-2, despite the graphic on the right hand here. And wait a second. Wait, if I'm right here, I'm going to be so happy.
Wow. Dude,
Please.
if you called Hog EQ with Rage, and then we all of a sudden have a big spell with, Rage plus the EQ, I would be excited. And there it is. There's a Hog. Juicy.
Oh! Wait, the pre-void Rage, but it still pulls!
No.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that was insane.
That's frustrating because now Tourists might just straight lose this game when that was such a good play.
Yeah.
That was such a good play, dude. The Rage and the Void, but the timing on the Void, devastated right now.
Here comes the counter push. Hog inbound, Firecracker in tow. And he's low in elixir. Ruben gets the monk down here. It's going to deal with the Hog eventually, but actually Tourist up in the damage lead now.
Okay. We got ourselves a barn burner here. Best of 5. Just a minute and a half into gameplay. We got Royal Giant from Ruben, one of the best to ever do it, going up against Tourist and the first Void that I have seen in competitive play in as long as I can remember.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, once again, this is what happens when you get to the very end of a best of 5 and a lot of the spells have been used. He's going to use the Void, probably predicting the fact that Ruben is going to use the Firecracker, right? I mean, even though Lightning is overall the better spell, I mean, we talked about how strong the Firecracker could be in this final game of the best of 5, and he's going to bring the Void to try to deal with it at least.
Yeah, so hard to target that Firecracker with either of those spells, but definitely harder with the Lightning just because it's never going to be, it's never going to be at the top of the HP list. There's the Lightning from Ruben.
Monk and Zappies and Efficient still in the counter push. We see an Evo Tesla have to drop down here, but that's not really how you want to use your Evo Tesla. You definitely want to save for the next Royal Giant, but Tourist going to apply some pressure now with a pre-rage on the Skellies, but the prediction for the rage on the Skellies on the right-hand side to prevent that from happening. Just mind games all around right now from both players.
Yeah, and now this is a really scary push coming in from Ruben. Monk up front, there's the ability. Tesla going to get taken off the board from, and now a second Royal Giant comes down. Void to take out the Firecracker in the back. Ruben got the shot. Ruben gets the win, and our former world champion stays alive and takes the best of 5.
Wow. GG's first best of 5 in CRL history. First duels best of 5.